WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and Baltimore Positive. I am wearing the Raskin Global gear. I do like the Royal, the George Brett Royal Blue, but I have decided to go with the muted. Is this periwinkle? I don't know what this is. Our WNST Crab Cake Tour is back out on the road. I'm hoping to be joined by Leonard Raskin at some point. We're going to be doing it with our friends at the Maryland Lottery. I got some Betty Boop tickets to get. You know what? I got some scratch offs here. We're going to be giving some Betty Boopers away. That's going to happen at Greenmount Station in Hampstead on Friday. And then that's Good Friday. It's going to be a great Friday with our friends up in Carroll County. Then we're going to be at G&A Coney Island Hot Dog on the 22nd, and then the 27th at Conrad's Crabs, both up in the White Marsh and Perry Hall area, heading north and east. Leonard, look, we talk about a lot of things, and I can do football with you. I'm happy to do Masters. I know with your Ohio State connections and this unfortunate tragedy with Dwayne Haskins and how it involved the Washington Commanders. I keep wanting to use the R word. I'm trying not to. And the Steelers. Life is short, and I think opening day is one of those things. And I look out and I see the trees and the buds start to come, and there's the springing and 70 degrees in the air and all that going on. Man, baseball really takes me back to my childhood, and maybe this is about being old white guys at this point and where baseball is, and they can't sell out opening day. But this is maybe the oldest memory I have on baseball. And as I said to you before we got together, if we don't talk baseball this week, we might not. It's like horse racing. If you don't talk break this week, you're probably not going to for the next 51 weeks.
Yeah, I hear you. Opening week of the O's. Tampa had their number for the weekend. But
15 in a row, by the way. They've lost 15 straight games to the Tampa Rays.
Yeah. Hey, they're going to make the American League East a fight for 4 teams with 100 wins, because all of them are going to beat up on us, which is terrible. We got to get better. This has got to be more joy in Mudville. It's I don't know if opening day sold out or not. I don't know if it's going to be full or not. I hope so, for the sake of the team that's coming out on the field. I don't really care much about money ownership wise and whether or not they make money, but boy, would it be nice for the kids that are playing to have a crowd there cheering for them. I hope there's a good crowd cheering for them. It's kind of strange. Also, they set opening day. I guess somebody's got to play Milwaukee, right?
Right. Well,
and if you're Milwaukee, I guess you say, well, somebody's got to play the Orioles, right?
Philly's open against the Oakland A's, so you tell me.
These big rivalries. They get these big rivalries going. I think Boston, New York opened up against each other, a nice series, but here we've got the O's and Milwaukee, our longtime rivals, going back to Robin Yount days, right? We've got some end of season heroics against the Brewers back in the American League 70s and 80s, but boy, they're a hot rival now.
My memory with the Brewers was an April memory with Juan Nieves throwing the no-hitter. Now, I can't say that I was really at that game. I was at the locker when he was drinking champagne, getting quotes. I worked that night after the game in 1987. I was out there with my press pass, but I drove out in the 5th inning because there was a no-hitter in progress. And I lived over on King Street in East Baltimore. I was probably 12, 14 minutes just out Urban Avenue.
I thought you were going to say you were 12 or 14 years old.
No. I was 17 years old. I was almost 18, but no, I was 18 years old at that time. So
there you go.
I drove out in the 5th inning, and I saw Robin Yount make the last catch. It was a hell of a catch.
Right.
He was playing the outfield at that point after being a shortstop early in his career. And it was 37 degrees, man. It was like freezing, see your breath kind of April cold. The baseball, you and I come at it honest. I mean, we've known each other a long time through football and love of our community and where we are. And you follow the American dream and invest money and all that. But I think little Leonard Raskin and little Nestor at Colgate Elementary in 1979, when I'm in the 6th grade and they're in the World Series, and my last name's Aparicio, and my dad gets
we aren't family.
We are not family. And I saw some picture of Phil Garner the other night, kind of pissed me off in those Bumblebee uniforms. But nonetheless, we loved baseball, and it's been a lifetime thing, whether it's collecting baseball cards, whether it was going in to see a game in Philadelphia or going to Yankee Stadium or seeing Nolan Ryan pit, whatever your Cal Ripken's game, whatever that is. I'm seriously asking this question, not to be a jerk or anything like that this week, but what happened I mean, what happened? I know what happened for me. I got involved. I got close. This owner came in. We can talk about the last 30 years and my personal experience and Free the Birds and my press pass and the Oriole bird and them screwing me on a $40,000 deal. I can talk about all of that.
Yeah,
That's what on opening day, I'm like, what's happened to me? But that has nothing to do with them not being able to sell out opening day when tickets are $12 and they can't get people to want to come, even when the weather's decent, and why you're not there and your boy's not back home from Ohio State and you're turning this into the holiday it was for me and my father, for me and my friends, for me and everyone in my life. Life stopped on opening day and life changed and my clock changed every year in April because of my love of baseball. And that's changed.
yeah.
And it makes me a little sad, but it also makes me think like in business, they got what they deserved. They don't want me around. So therefore, I've decided to, go see other girls.
Well, I'll tell you, the sad thing is, uh, I took my son to a couple opening days, and he's not a big sports fan at all. That's not his thing, kind of oddly, because I am. So I guess he chose not to be. But with regards to baseball, he doesn't find it real interesting or real enjoyable because it's not a sport he played, which I did as a kid, and it's not a
Does he
not a thing he
understand it? Does he
rushes
know
out
what the
to.
infield fly rule is?
No, he would have no clue. And we
Okay.
could teach him the rules, but he loves football. He loves going to watch football, mostly for the food. Um, but we fell in love, like you said, we fell in love with another girl when he's going to be 20 years old this month, and
And baseball's
one
never
year,
going to come to him. It's
one
over for him.
one year, I think it's one. You tell me, you know best. One or two of the Showalter years, they've won. He's never seen a winning team. He's never seen a winning Orioles. He's never had the experience. He really enjoyed going to the games when we were beating the Detroit Tigers in the playoffs and watching that. And we had great seats and we had a great time and he
He
loved
was
it. And he
10
thought
years old.
maybe, yeah, he thought maybe he'd go to some, and then they just stunk. And let's face it, you got to put a winner on the field, and when they're right across the parking lot, there's a winner on the field. That's the winner you go to see. So the other girl's better looking, and you're going to hang out with her. And this girl's got spots. There's a problem. Look, I don't know the numbers. This is your gig. You know the numbers, but my goodness, our payroll's less than one Yankee.
Yes.
I mean,
less than one Scherzer.
right. And how do you expect to compete? Now, I get it. Tampa Bay's figured out a model, but I think their payroll's bigger than ours. They've figured out a way to win. And some of these middle market teams have figured out a way to win. But the Orioles should be
The league
drawing.
shouldn't be designed to figure out a way to win. That's not a good design for a league, a modern league, that you have to figure this out with 30 million competing with teams at 275 million and thinking it's going to
But
be
it's not
good.
the league.
It's not going to
It's
be
not the
good.
league. It's not the league setting the cap or setting the numbers or tax on high payers. They're not paying. Maybe nobody wants to come here. I don't know. I don't know why people wouldn't want to play for this team, but other than the fact that they're not winning. But if you start winning, and I get it, they're rebuilding, they're building this minor league culture. We've got supposedly great minor league talent that if it makes it here, we'll start a winning. If they start winning and the town will buy in if they start winning, as long as the day after they start winning, they don't trade away the winners. That's the problem. It seems like, and again, the baseball business side of this better than me, but it seems like, and I'll give Angelos credit, back in the day, he tried to win. The Alomar, Bonilla, the Albert Bell deal, which was just stupid, but at least they were trying to win. And I think what happened, just my opinion, is he got burned on some bad free agent deals with a lot of money and decided to hell with it. And then once that happened, he just said, hell, we're going to make homegrown talent.
Well, it wasn't just
We're
the
gonna
hell with it,
with-
Leonard. And I would encourage you and anybody in my audience, I put a lot of effort into this. So for people
Yep.
that are asking me questions or wondering, I wrote a wonderful 12 chapter book called The Peter Principles. It was never really finished because Jen got cancer in the middle of it, and I sort of brushed it up after she had cancer and we did our baseball tour. But I was kind of holding out thinking that 16 team might win a World Series because 12, 14, 16 were the years they were good, right? So it's been 6 years. Your boy's 20s, all right? So he was 13 the last time they were good. He was 9 or 10 when they started to get good, and he hadn't thought about it in 8 years. And he's off in band camp in Ohio State, and he's got a real football team, right? So, and I would say that span of attention, even for the Kansas City Royals, you mentioned like getting rid of all the Moustakas, all those players were all gone. And what do they have? They have an empty stadium and they have a banner. They have they have a flag that waves that says they won the World Series, right? And that's beautiful. And some kids, your kids that age would have a jersey that doesn't fit him anymore because he was 12 when he bought it. And then you say, what's going to bring you back? I don't know. Like if I said to my wife, Leonard and his wife just offered us 2 seats today, put a sweater on, let's go down to the game, or even if it's later in the week and it's 72, and you say, hey, I got a client with seats 3 rows behind first base. They're great seats. They're right near Steve Jeppy. You like him. You guys can talk and kibitz and move around, and we'll try the new menu for $31 and get some short rib sandwich or whatever. I don't know, but could you even talk your wife into it? Could I talk my wife into it, even if the Red Sox were in town? And then I don't live downtown anymore. So now, like opening day, where do you park? Like all of that. But would it even be any fun? Or would it be more fun to say, you know what, Leonard, let's wait for the concert down at Merriweather, or let's just go get some Indian food together one night, or let's just go do something else.
I'll get to a game. I'll get to a couple games. I thoroughly enjoy, as we've talked about, baseball. And I'll get out there. I don't know the schedule. I haven't looked at it really deeply, but I'll go see Shohei Ohtani if the Angels come.
It's in July, by the way. I looked it up already.
Okay, there you go. So that.
And the Orioles have built their promotional schedule. It's till July, like 8th, 9th, 10th. I'll look it up before we get off. But they built like floppy hat night, like all the big promotions. So they do want to get 40,000 people out to see Shohei Ohtani, and I'm in with you. That's when I'm going. I'm like you. When Babe Ruth comes to town, Shoeless Joe.
I want to see him.
I want to go see the legends.
You know, back in the day, I had Cap season tickets from 1987 till probably 10 years ago. Yeah, till about 2012, 13. And I would go to, all the games I could. But boy, back in the day, seeing Gretzky play, there was nothing finer than watching him skate. And it only happened here once every couple of years because they were with Edmonton. Then when he came with New York, it was good to see him play, but he was older and slower.
I never
still
not
amazing.
went to see Gretzky play. I never slept on Jordan, Magic, Bird. When those guys came through, I went.
You get that opportunity, you
Dr.
go.
J,
these are once in a lifetime things. If Tiger Woods was playing the what's it at Caves, the new tournament they set up at Caves, Tiger Woods is on the golf course. You want to go see that. So there's players I want to see, but I remember back in the early days of going to see the Caps, this is pre-87, the house was filled with the opposing team's fans. When Philly would come in or Pittsburgh would come in, that wasn't the Caps' home arena, it was their home arena, home away from home arena. I went to a couple Oriole games over the last few years with friends from Boston over the last, 5-10 years. It's cheaper and easier for them to fly southwest to Baltimore, come see an O's game at Camden Yards than it was to go to Fenway.
Well, especially if my wife's relatives could crash on our couch for free too, right?
There you go. They got better seats and had a better time here than they did at Fenway. And that place, we're talking Fenway South. So when that's happening, who the heck wants to sit in that crowd? And of course the Orioles are saying, all the media, let's sell out the house so we don't have Boston fans here. Well, let's win so we don't have Boston fans here.
Leonard Raskin is Raskin Global. It's tax week, so get your nerves down. Leonard's going to keep you nice and calm here if you need to put an extension in. By the way, I did look up the dates. It is the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th of July.
There you go. Angels Week.
is Angels week, correct? Orioles floppy hat on Friday the 8th, Birdland Hawaiian shirt on the 9th, kids run the bases on the 10th. So, and maybe you and I could be big kids. Maybe they'll let us run the bases.
There you go. Doubt it. Doubt it.
All
But
right, so are you done with baseball?
That is the coolest
is that all
thing.
you want to say about it? I mean,
like I said, I'll get out this summer. I enjoy a nice Friday evening, Saturday evening when it's been 90 during the day, a nice cool evening to watch the birds. I'll get out there and watch a game or two. I'm not season ticket holder and I'm not going to every game, but it'll be interesting to see Rutschman play. It'll be interesting to see some of these kids start to hit the ball, and hopefully they turn it around. Back in the day, here's my last for the morning. My last morning Oriole story goes like this. Back in the day, I had season tickets, and people were calling.
What does that mean?
I really want
29
to go see.
game third. What is a season ticket?
No, I had a full package. I shared it with another guy, and people would call.
This is in the early night. This is when Camden Yards.
And people would call. Man, can I get a ticket to this game? Can I get a ticket to that game? We'd love to go to this game. Towards the end of my season ticket run, we used to have a golf tournament. We sponsored charity golf tournament, and our giveaway at the end of the golf tournament was whoever lost the most balls during the day got a pair of Oriole tickets, and nobody wanted them. That's how bad it got.
Well, the nobody wanted them part, for a guy like me, last name Aparicio. Well, like I built this radio station. I built my entire career. I had to explain this to Chad Steele last week out at Ravens camp. In 1991, when this thing started with Kenny Albert and I'm doing skipjack games, there was no thought that there would ever be a football team here. Ever.
Nope.
Like you would have gotten long odds on that. But there was Camden Yards, there was Cal Ripken, we're a baseball town anyway, screw the Colts, we don't need Irsay, all that, right? And somehow 31 years now into this, I'm trying to check the credit and the debts and the investment and my investment of time and what this radio station became and what my career became, because it's really there's an old Ronnie Millsap song, it's too sad to write. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's such a sad story that it to tell it, and I did in the Peter Principles. It's inconceivable to a 20-year-old kid like your kid that you had these season tickets back in the 90s and that this thing was truly exciting, because for the most part, unless you're old like us, excitement doesn't come with it.
Third row, just outside third base, high-fiving Cal Ripken as he runs around the stadium.
That's
21-30. 21-31. It just didn't get better than that. I mean,
what made you cancel your tickets? You said just because you couldn't give them away? I mean, at some point you made that moment to drop the parachute, right? Literally.
Yeah. So Orioles tickets, Ravens tickets, Capitals tickets.
Okay.
And at that point, it was a lot of money for a lot of sports, and the boy didn't love it. The wife was busy. We were busy with the boy. We were busy with life.
Your life changed.
Orioles were 80 games, and 80 games, we couldn't give away 20. So it was like, okay, we'll go to 40. We'll go to 20. Then it was just no fun. They just weren't that good. And we just said, okay, well, we'll not get them, because ultimately, when you can walk up to the window and get tickets any night to any game, there's no reason to own season tickets.
Unless they're orange carpeting you, right? Like really. And you and I, by the way, I went to New York the other day, and I just want to give a shout out, because you're a Broadway guy. You and your wife go to the Hippodrome, and I love that people do supportive season ticket things, and they are, I mean, my avidity for sports and my love for sports and my love for the Orioles and then my love for the Ravens and all, all of the Caps, the Terps, all these things that I've loved. It is amazing that things become a little cyclical and you feel like, what compels me to watch the Masters on a Sunday afternoon
Yeah.
and have it be important. But we went to New York to see Billy Joel on Friday. And I would just say this to anybody listening. And if I were writing a column this week, my column would be New York's so close and you should use it. It's $20 to jump on a bus and go to New York. And people from Omaha wait their whole lives to spend one day in New York. And I've been all over the world, like New York, Paris, Tokyo, London, you and I've been in London together, these big
Yep.
places. To have something like New York and something like Washington, D.C. be such a close reach away, it should be utilized. So that's my message for the week is you say, save your money, live your American dream. Leonard, I got $6.95 in Shanghai dumplings in Chinatown and a $60 massage, the regular massage, not the Robert Kraft kind, the regular kind, all right? And it's amazing. You save your nickels and you spend a day in New York. You get some $65 Billy Joel seats, and you go drink some beer and eat some chicken wings at your favorite Korean place. It is amazing when you save your money or you have the thing that you want to do with it that used to be Ovechkin tickets, Ripken tickets, Ray Lewis whatever that thing is. That's what you're about, and you're working with me and my wife on this right now.
Absolutely. We're about the American dream, and it's just that. And I agree. I was at a conference last week. I was down in San Antonio, and I was talking to some friends who live here, near here. And we had this conversation about DC, and they said they've lived their whole lives here, never been to the Washington Monument, never been to the Jefferson Memorial, never been to the Lincoln Memorial. They lived here an hour away. They said, and then they had some family that came to town and they wanted to go to DC. So that's the first time. The guy's like 50. I've never been to the monuments. It's like, are you out of your mind? But just what you said, it's right here. People travel the world. People spend their whole life, save their whole life to get here, to see this stuff. It's right in our backyard. Just take a day trip, go down and enjoy it like a tourist.
My wife and I got our 6:30 bus got canceled, and they said, "Do you want the 7:30 or the 5:30?" And my wife hates getting up early, and I'm an early riser, and I'm like, "Look, let's get up." So I woke her up at 4:30, and I said, "Listen, if you were in Omaha, this would be the greatest day of your life."
That's right. That's right. Because, like you said, use New York. I mean, a lot of people are, I hate New York. New York is a magnificent city. It's so much there. So much there. People fly to London. People fly to Paris. You got to realize everybody over there flies to New York. I was talking to a guy. The wife and I were in Houston and San Antonio. At Houston, we went to the Johnson Space Center and spent the day there. And the tour we did, there was a guy from London. He was over here on business and he went there. And he said that this was remarkable. He said, I've been to the States a number of times. He said, I've seen New York, I've seen DC, but I had the business trip here. I figured I'd spend the day. He said, this is magnificent. And I'm thinking, oh my God, it was a 2.5, 3 hour miserable flight. It got canceled. We were late. We ended up getting there in time for the meeting we had. Then the next day we had a free day. We did this tour. I mean, it was fun. It was great. It was a great time. And this guy's like over the top thrilled coming from London to the States and talking about what he's seen here. And I kind of think about, well, I've been to London, so I feel like I've seen the UK. Seen nothing. He's been to New York. He's been to DC. Now he's been to Houston. He felt like he'd seen America. I'm like, dude, that's about as much as I've seen.
Well, my wife and I are spending some time with Niels, the man who saved her life. We're going over to Europe, spend a little time with him this summer.
Yeah.
And I planned a trip because Pearl Jam's on tour. So you asked me, like, football look, if the Ravens play the Bucks in Munich, we're going to Germany, right? We'll hit Italy, we'll do something, right? But I'm going to a place I've never been. You're a hockey guy. I'm going to Le Colisée to see Pearl Jam in Quebec City, and I'm going to Ottawa, another place I've never been, which is the capital of Canada. I have great friends in Ottawa.
Been to both, yep.
So, yeah, I've never been to either. So, trying to do things now that this plague is over that we've never done. Tell everybody what you do, and I'll let you wrap, and we'll get on to some baseball and some football. We got the draft coming up and all that. But if people have money and don't know what to do with it, or like my wife and I, just trying to get smarter about it. We both have been taken advantage of. We've had good investments, bad investments, all of that, but we're trying to get smarter as we get into our 50s.
Yeah, we help people understand, most importantly, understand their American dream, and then how to introduce the financial aspects of what it is you need to do to protect your wealth, to enjoy your wealth, to grow your wealth, and ultimately to transfer your wealth. And people think financial planning, financial consulting is about investing. And that is certainly a part of it, but it's a very easy part of it. And there is academic science as to how to do that. And I will tell you that just as doctors study their craft and engineers study their craft, I've spent 35 years studying my craft. And there is academic evidence of how you should invest your money. And people don't understand it. They've never studied it. And because people make money, they think they understand money. And unfortunately, they make terrible mistakes with their money. We make sure it's protected properly, that things don't jump up, surprise you, and cost you your wealth. We make sure you invest it properly, understand what you're doing with it, and how to do it. Most importantly, we want to make sure you enjoy it. And for most people we work with, we've talked about for our entire time together today, every other day, enjoying it is not about watching the balance sheet grow assets. It's about using DC, using New York, going around the world, traveling,
riding soaring at Epcot.
Absolutely, things that bring memories that your mind will trap and go back to and enjoy for the rest of your life. And that doesn't matter if you're 20 or 30 or 50, and it's never too late until you can't anymore. And I want people to understand that you got to do these things, because one day, hopefully, we're all going to be 80 or 90, and going to Europe with a walker ain't a great trip. And God forbid you're this 25-year-old kid. I don't know the story yet. We haven't heard it yet. Dwayne Haskins, Ohio State quarterback. I mean, he had the world in front of him, and for some reason he was on the highway. I don't know what the story is. Hit by a dump truck and killed. It happens too often for too many reasons. We live in a city where it happens too often for all the wrong reasons. You need to get out there and have your life be amazing, because if you don't, then sitting around counting the pennies is nobody's good game. So we help people protect it, grow it, enjoy it, ultimately transfer it to those they care about, whether that's family, charity, whatever it may be. And we help them do it efficiently, effectively. That's what we're all about. And we've been doing it for 35 plus years.
Appreciate you, Leonard. It's always good to visit with you. Hope we get a crab cake sometime soon. The Maryland Crab Cake Tour back out on the road, presented by the Maryland Lottery and our friends at Goodwill Industries. We're going to be at Greenmount Station this week with my pal Chris up there, talking about SWARC and talking about OTB and talking about sports wagering for real up in Hampstead with our partners up in Carroll County. Also, we're going to be at G&A Coney Island Hot Dog in White Marsh with Andy. That's going to be happening next Friday, the 22nd, and the 27th. We're going to be at Conrad's Crabs, having another great crab cake with them in Perry Hall as we extend the conversation. Leonard Raskin can be found at RaskinGlobal.com. I can be found watching a little Orioles baseball here this week and getting ready for the NFL draft. I'm kind of geeked up about that. The NFL schedule not coming out all of a sudden in April. They're having it come out in May, so we'll sit, lay low, and wait through some Pearl Jam, wait for some Springsteen dates and some other concert stuffs as we got going on around here. I am Nestor. We are WNST, AM 1570, Towson, Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore positive.